Hello and welcome. I'm Thomas Porteous and you're watching The World Report. Let's take a look at some of the headlines this hour. Donald J. Trump has been inaugurated as the 47th President of the United States. During the Capitol ceremony, Trump spoke about a new golden age for America, while slamming the previous administration. After being sworn in, President Trump signed several legally binding executive orders. Among many orders to be signed, America has been withdrawn from the World Health Organization and the Paris Climate Agreement, while immigration orders and presidential pardons were also signed. South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol has attended Constitutional Court for his impeachment trial. At the start of the hearing, Yoon said he had worked with a firm commitment to free democracy after his failed martial law bid. As the Gaza ceasefire holds strong for the second day, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu promises to quash the threat in the region. Meanwhile, 137 bodies have been discovered in Rafah. Donald Trump wasted no time in making big moves on day one back in the office. He is already reversing key climate policies and declaring a national energy emergency. Trump has once again pulled out of the Paris Climate Agreement, calling it a hoax. He also repeated restrictions on Arctic and offshore drilling, claiming it will boost energy independence. In a major shift, he lifted a pause on LNG export permits, green lighting projects in Louisiana and Texas to strengthen the US as a leading exporter. And the offshore wind projects, it is on hold. Trump says wind turbines are ugly and harmful to wildlife. And in a move against electric vehicles, he halted funding for EV infrastructure and scrapped Biden's 2030 EV targets. Trump says these moves will lower energy costs, but warned critics they could hurt climate progress. We are going to discuss this topic. Joining us, we have Ambassador Suraj Goel, former diplomat, and John Rossimondo, geopolitical analyst, live from Washington, D.C. Ambassador Goel, I want to come into you with this first question. Why has Trump withdrawn from this agreement despite global temperature heights?
Donald Trump, even before elections, even in his election promises and the agenda, he had clearly indicated that he is going to get the USA out of Paris Agreement, and he has done that. And I don't think in that matter, he is looking at the long-term consequences of his action. Many countries, and I don't blame him at all, for many countries, the climate change remains a hoax. And they do think that the global warming is just an imagination, despite everything that is happening around the world. And therefore, I'm not going to question his judgment on whether he thinks that Paris Agreement is not required, global warming is a hoax, there's no climate change. That is, he's the president of the USA, and he's the most powerful head of state anywhere in the world, and he has a right to really think the way he wants, whatever the consequences may be. But for me, the basic questions really come that can you have a policy on energy which is so fickle that it changes from one president to the other? Can the world then look at USA as a guide in terms of the long-term global issues? And even if we leave the world out, and I'm saying this basically because even if I don't admire Trump for what he thinks, I have greatest respect for the office of the President of the USA. After all, he commands the largest nuclear force in the world.
John,
having said that, no, sorry, let me complete, please, if you don't mind. Just one last sentence. The point is, he has not stopped to think of the consequences of the energy emergency policy on the American own industry. Elon Musk is heavily invested in the electrical vehicles. I wonder what will happen to Elon Musk in it. Yes.
John Rosamondo, I want to bring in that exact word, consequences. What are the consequences that will unfurl after Trump has made this decision? The US, after all, is a lead in emitting fossil fuel.
Well, let's put it this way. The Paris Climate Accord has been shown by its own admission to be something that will have a negligible impact on global climate. While President Trump looks at the cost-benefit analysis, when he left office, America was the world's largest exporter and producer of petroleum. It drove down the cost of the barrel of oil, and also when Joe Biden came in and got back in the climate accord and started cutting off things like the Keystone XL pipeline, it resulted in a growth in terms of prices per barrel, which helped Vladimir Putin and gave him the ability to invade Ukraine. So if you want to hurt Vladimir Putin, you're going to want the U.S. to be a net increase in terms of its energy output.
Ambassador Gould, I want to go back to a character that you mentioned prior. Elon Musk, he is obviously a big advocate for clean energy, creates electric vehicles. What do you think he thinks about all this?
I'm quite certain that Elon Musk, who as it is facing a huge challenge from China in auto sector, and not from China, but basically because China has established a huge automobile sector in Mexico, and they are sending vehicles across the border into the USA. So Elon Musk is not going to be quite happy with this decision. But anyway, that is Elon Musk's thinking and what the President Trump thinks. But the point really here is that this kind of a decision is going to shake not only the USA and Elon Musk's position within the Trump administration. Vivek Ramaswamy has left already. Whether Elon Musk will stay or not, because the fact is that Trump is his own man. He is very, very decisive, and he will not countenance any challenge to his personal power in the administration, whether it is Elon Musk or anybody else. So he will not. Elon Musk will have to really see how he faces the challenges afterward. But the point really here is that you take a decision and that you are going to create not just a basically energy situation, but a price competitiveness across the globe. Do you think the countries in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, who basically drew back on their own production because of the climate change, if America comes into the market with their own production, with the prices being affected by the Saudi oil, how are they going to keep quiet?
John Rosamondo, when the US attends these summits, the G20, the G7, climate change is always on the agenda. What do you think that Donald Trump's, what agenda do you think Donald Trump will push at these events?
Well, I think that President Trump will push an all-of-the-above approach to energy like he always has. I mean, the whole group thing of moving to the so-called green energy benefits China, it benefits Russia. And these are the two major destabilizers of the global system right now. So I think that we should be pushing our own production of oil and gas. I mean, when President Trump was in office the first time, it forced Saudi Arabia to increase its production, which brought down the costs. We've been dealing with runaway inflation on a global level. And I think that President Trump will take a strong leading stance in terms of how it deals with these other countries.
Ambassador Gould, critics would say that America has witnessed firsthand the effects of climate change. You've obviously just had the Los Angeles fires, you've had hurricanes throughout America. Critics say that with the temperature going up, these disasters become more frequent. Why isn't Trump addressing this?
Because I think for President Trump, the immediate priorities are not really what the climate change brings in terms of the rising temperature, fires, floods, etc., etc. But for him, the most important thing is finding a labor engagement, people from the USA working in the industry. And therefore, shutting down the oil pumps in USA means loss of that much of employment for the American people. And he thinks that the immediate action should be to open up those wells again, let them start producing, so that American people can begin to work again. The ideas of reskilling, alternative employments, alternative industries are still foreign to him. He is conservative. He looks at America in a different manner. And for him, America became powerful because America was a military leader, America was an energy leader, and he wants to go back to the same thing. Let us see how it works.
I do apologise, we have run out of time. Thank you very much for joining us, Ambassador Gould and John Rosamondo. We will now move on to some more news from across the world. Donald Trump has returned to the White House, sworn in as the 47th President of the United States for a second term. His inauguration has drawn a flurry of reactions from world leaders, some hopeful, some cautious, and others expressing concern about the global order. Here's how the world is responding to this historic moment.
Donald Trump's return to the Oval Office has sparked reactions across continents. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky sees this as a chance to achieve real peace.
Трампа, він сильна людина. Я бажаю успіху президенту Трампу, всій Америці. Українці готові працювати разом з американцями, щоб досягти миру, справжнього миру. Це шанс.
European leaders joined the conversation, extending congratulations to Trump. NATO chief Mark Rutte said Trump's presidency would turbocharge defense spending, while EU chief Ursula von der Leyen highlighted the enduring strength of transatlantic ties. In Moscow, Vladimir Putin praised Trump's resilience during the election campaign.
Предвыборный период был для господина Трампа во всех отношениях нелегким. На него и даже на членов его семьи постоянно оказывалось жесточайшее давление. Дело дошло до попыток покушения на его жизнь. Но он проявил мужество, одержал убедительную победу на выборах.
Meanwhile, Iran expressed hope for a realistic approach from the Trump administration.
ما امیدواریم که 4 سال بعد قضاوتی که الان در مورد 4 سال گذشته وجود داره در مورد 4 سال آینده واقعا وجود نداشته باشه و رویکردها و سیاست‌های دولت آمریکا واقع گرایانه و مبتنی بر حقوق بین‌الملل و احترام به منافع و خواسته‌های ملت‌های منطقه از جمله ملت ایران باشه.
Brazilian President Lula da Silva was optimistic but diplomatic, emphasizing a peaceful relationship with the United States.
Tem gente que fala de que a eleição do Trump pode causar problema na democracia mundial. O Trump foi eleito para governar os Estados Unidos e eu, como presidente do Brasil, torço para que ele faça uma gestão profícua, para que o povo brasileiro, o povo americano melhore e para que os americanos continuem a ser o parceiro histórico que é do Brasil, porque da nossa parte nós não queremos briga, nem com a Venezuela, nem com os americanos, nem com a China, nem com a Índia, nem com a Rússia. Nós queremos paz.
However, Germany's Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock struck a cautious tone, acknowledging potential policy differences under Trump.
Wir Europäer müssen daher auf unseren eigenen Beinen stehen und unseren Frieden, unsere Freiheit selber stärker schützen. Das haben wir beide hier sehr deutlich gemacht.
As Donald Trump begins his second term, world leaders are divided. Some see new opportunities, while others brace for challenges. One thing is certain: Trump's presidency will shape global dynamics once again. Bureau Report, NewsX.
Let's now take a look at some news updates from Europe. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and Russian President Vladimir Putin congratulated US President Donald Trump on his inauguration. Both leaders also expressed their hopes for just peace under the Trump administration amid raging war. While Zelensky said that Ukraine was looking forward to active and mutually beneficial cooperation, Putin said he was open to dialogue with the new US administration on war and nuclear arms. Both warring sides are looking for a peaceful resolution under Trump, who has claimed to end the war in a day. Prince Harry's legal battle against Rupert Murdoch's British newspaper group goes to trial at the High Court in London. Harry is suing News Group newspapers over alleged unlawful activities carried out by its journalists and private investigators from 1996 to 2011. The prince says his mission is not money, but to get the truth. This is because other claimants settled cases to avoid the risk of a multi-million-pound legal bill that could be imposed even if they won in court. Harry's legal team has said that his older brother, Prince William, had settled his case against NGN in 2020 for a very large sum of money. French President Emmanuel Macron has made fresh comments regarding US administration as Donald Trump was sworn in. Macron warned that the billions of taxpayer money spent on Europe's military budgets should not be used to buy any American weapons. With this, he made his push for more investment in homegrown defense industries. Speaking minutes before the inauguration of US President Donald Trump, Macron said the continent should spend more. He also said Europeans should simplify the European defense industry. A British teenager unexplainedly pleaded guilty to murdering 3 young girls at a Taylor Swift-themed dance event last July. The government said it would hold an inquiry into the atrocity, which was followed by a nationwide rioting. 18-year-old Axel Rudakana confession made the trial that was about to start at Liverpool Crown Court unnecessary. He also pleaded guilty to 10 charges of attempted murder relating to the attack, as well as producing the deadly poison ricin and possessing an Al-Qaeda training manual. Transnistria has agreed to purchase national gas from Moldova Gas to address its ongoing energy crisis. The region's Moscow-backed leader confirmed that Transnistria had accepted Moldova's offer. Gas supplies to Transnistria were halted on January the 1st by Russia's Gazprom. This was over a $709 million debt dispute with Moldova. Transnistria's energy company informed Moldovas of its intent to pay in full. However, no timeline was given for when supplies would resume. An independent report into a northern Italian diocese revealed dozens of sex abuse cases committed by members of the clergy over 6 decades. The report dug deeper into the past than others produced by the Italian Catholic Church. The Diocese of Bolso Brixen investigated cases from 1964 through to 2023. It commissioned the report from a German law firm that found 67 possible abuse situations. It linked the cases to 41 priests, equal to 4.1% of the clergy operating in the diocese over the period. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vowed that Gaza will never again pose a threat to Israel. The settlement came as a fragile truce held on day 2 of a ceasefire. Meanwhile, 3 Israeli hostages were freed, with the first phase of the truce aiming for 6 weeks of negotiations. Let's take a look at the report.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Monday vowed Gaza would never again pose a threat to Israel, as a tense calm prevailed on the second day of a truce in the Palestinian territory. 3 Israeli hostages, all women, were reunited with their families after Hamas fighters handed them over on Sunday, followed by the overnight release of 90 Palestinian prisoners from an Israeli jail in the occupied West Bank. The truce mediated by Qatar, Egypt, and the United States began on Sunday, on the eve of Donald Trump's inauguration for a second term as US president. In a video message on Monday, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu thanked Trump for helping to secure the hostage release deal and once more vowed to return the remaining hostages, and to ensure that Gaza never again poses a threat to Israel.
On behalf of the people of Israel, I also want to thank you for your efforts in helping free Israeli hostages. I look forward to working with you to return the remaining hostages, to destroy Hamas's military capabilities and end its political rule in Gaza, and to ensure that Gaza never again poses a threat to Israel. I'm sure, Mr. President, that under your leadership, the best days of our alliance are yet to come.
If all goes to plan, the first phase of the truce would last 6 weeks, during which the parties would negotiate a permanent ceasefire, which has not been agreed yet. Bureau Report NewsX.
We will now take a look at some news updates from North America. Southern California braces for intense winds with gusts up to 100 miles per hour and low humidity, creating extreme fire weather. The National Weather Service warns of a particularly dangerous situation across Los Angeles, Ventura, and San Diego counties. Crews halted a new fire in Poway, while firefighters remain alert after recent blazes. Kamala Harris visited Aldenta, thanking responders and meeting victims. Jury selection begins for rapper A$AP Rocky, accused of firing a gun at Teron Efron, a childhood friend. In 2021, he faces 2 felony charges and up to 24 years in prison if he is convicted. The rapper, who pleads not guilty, is known for his music, fashion ventures, and partnership with Rihanna. Media cameras will cover the trial, with opening statements likely on Wednesday. Efron claims their feud escalated, leading to the alleged shooting, where bullets grazed his knuckles. 15 grey wolves from Canada were released in Colorado's Central Mountains last week as part of a voter-driven reintroduction initiative. 5 relocated wolves from a previous release joined them in Eagle and Pitkin counties. Officials delayed the announcement due to threats against staff. Since the program began, livestock depredations have been reported and 2 wolves were illegally killed. The state plans to release 30 to 50 wolves over 5 years to restore the species in the western US. Joe Biden ended his 50-year political career as Donald Trump was sworn in as the 47th US president. The Bidens welcomed the Trump for a tea meeting before the inauguration. Trump pledged to reverse Biden's policies in his address. Biden then left for California with family, marking a quiet transition. The White House was quickly redecorated for its new occupants. President Trump orders Alaska's tallest peak renamed Mount McKinley. Change revives the historic link named to the US. The 25th US President, Senator Lisa Murkowski, opposes the move, backing the native name Denali. Denali, meaning the High One, honors Alaska's Athabascan heritage. The name was officially changed in 2015 under Obama. Trump's order cites McKinley's tariff policies and legacy. And that is all we have time for. We will continue to bring you more international news updates. Thank you.